Hello and welcome to the Happiness Is podcast with me, your host, Bruce Aitchison from Happiness Egg Shaped, and he is. Oh, it didn't start. There we go. Hello and welcome to the Happiness Is podcast with me, your host, Bruce Aitchison from Happiness Egg Shaped, and he is back. An old friend, an old favourite, and he is literally getting back on his bike to do good things for a good cause in the name of a good man. I still am baffled every time he messages me or I see it on social media what he's up to. I just think, has this man got endless amounts of energy, enthusiasm? He must have a rump of steel to deal with the stuff he's dealing with. We all love him, the one and the only, Mr. Stuart Thom. Hello, sir.
Morning, Bruce. You well?
Yes, I'm very well. So every time we speak, it tends to be based around something to do with Doddie Weir, and you're at it again. You've got another crazy plan?
We've got another cycle. Yes, the third Great Rugby cycle. This year we're going around Wales. So next month, September, I think it is. Yeah, it's coming around fairly quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, you put these things in the calendar and it feels, oh yeah, I've got all the time in the world, and then all of a sudden it's here. Why Wales?
Never been there. Well, no, I have. In fairness, I've been there for rugby matches, but we're trying to spread the word, as you know. We did John O'Groats Land's End first, and then we did Round Ireland last year. And I thought, well, let's spread the word. England's probably too far, so we thought Wales, and that was the premise behind it. Spread the word. New country.
We thought England was too far. We've done Land's End to John O'Groats. We've done Round Ireland. We're going round Wales. There's no stopping this. I can't wait to see where 4, 5, and 6 go. So the plan is starting Cardiff, finishing Cardiff. Where do you go in between?
Well, we go clockwise. So we head Llanelli, and that's about as much of the pronunciation of the Welsh towns I can deal with. I've managed to get Rupert Moon involved so he can pronounce these towns, but I think it's Llanelli, Pembroke, Aberystwyth, and then I cannot pronounce half the other towns. And then we eventually come back into Cardiff the following Friday, 23rd.
So Mooney's your man on the ground?
Mooney's the man on the ground, but we've done a bit of planning ourselves, so we're stopping as normal, golf clubs, rugby clubs, and we're stopping 2-3 times a day just to refresh the legs and spread the word. So yeah, it should be fun. There's a few hills, I believe, in Wales, and that's the beauty of it, Bruce. I'm oblivious to these things. I just let's go around Wales, and then someone said, there's the hills. I said, no, not if you go around the coast. There's no. There is, apparently. There's quite a lot of hills. So, we'll see.
So you obviously love this stuff. You get a massive buzz out of this.
I get the massive buzz of spread. I know people get caught up sometimes in how much how much money they've raised in the funds and stuff, but it's more the awareness, because again, I've touched base with quite a lot of the rugby clubs around Wales. And it never fails to amaze me how many people have had someone affected by MND. So it's, the first, there's a rugby club in it's Fishguard, and I contacted them and said, yep, one of our players or one of our committee members passed away with it. Dead on, we'll be there. So it's amazing how many people have been connected. So trying to get the connection and trying to get the planning, that's half the fun. It's bringing people together for one cause, and that's spreading the word as much as raising as much money as we can.
And when you mentioned Doddie Weir, does that literally open doors?
We've had this discussion, Bruce. What Doddie has done for the world in MND is massive. You can't underestimate him as an ambassador. Then, unfortunately, behind him you had Rob Burrow, and then laterally you've got Ed Slater, and it's amazing, that these guys are now being followed by BBC on a regular basis. Now, we wouldn't have heard of MND. Well, we might have heard of it, but we didn't really know much about it 10, 15 years ago. What Doddie and those guys have done is massive. So yeah, great guy, but yeah, it still baffles me that there's still no cure yet. We're sitting here and guys are being diagnosed on a daily basis.
And you were across in God's country again for the ride for Doddie, and you saw the big man. It was just a little it wasn't even a training run for you. I don't think you were wanting to cycle home. I think. What was he saying when you caught up with him?
To be honest, Bruce, I find it difficult seeing Doddie physically because we would he was our idol growing up, watching him from the terraces in Murrayfield, let alone the stand. And he was a big, glaikit, lanky Doddie. And then, as you know, when you hear people diagnosed, you know they're going to, muscles are going to fade away. But I found it quite difficult seeing the big man, to be honest. He's got quite frail, but he's still got a smile. He's still got a banter, and he was telling me he was going for his wedding anniversary. And he was having a few Guinness and a few red wines. So, on one hand, it's difficult to watch, but on the other hand, he's still got his humour and his banter, which is Doddie through and through, isn't it? Really.
And he's still driving things. There's pictures just recently of them meeting with specialists. So I know that you've just said it's about the awareness, but this challenge could take you to $250,000 that you've raised towards the foundation. That's a phenomenal amount of cash and is going to go much closer to finding that cure.
Well, let's hope so. As I say, when we do these cycles or these events, it's not just about one person. Yes, it's the wider cause, but everybody that gets involved has got some form of connection. So everybody collectively raises the money, and the figure of $250,000 sounds great. And if we can contribute anything and can help in any small way, then great. Because if the goal, which it is, to find a cure, if we can help, fantastic, and we've ticked the box, and we will continue. This is not just a let's do it until we find a cure, because there's lots and lots of things going on behind the scenes that a lot of people probably don't realize. The research and the medical tests, which again Doddie's heavily involved in. I think Rob Burrow and Stephen Darby, and obviously laterally Ed Slater.
Yeah, you're some man. So who have you recruited? You've got Mooney there. Who else is going to join you on this circumnavigation?
Yeah, we've got. Well, the good thing is there's some people joining who've been on events before. So Ivan's coming back. Ivan Chukalo. Big Sai Danelli is coming back. Gav Kerr unfortunately couldn't make it. He injured himself. But I've got a good old friend from Melrose days, Mark Moncrief. Yeah, he's a keen cyclist. So
didn't give me this Melrose rubbish with Mark Moncrief. That's just a wind up. Mark Moncrief.
He says he's a Melrose man. He said he never mentions the Pale Mercs, does he?
Oh, that's good. I'm pleased Mark's going to be there. What a man.
Yeah, so he's excited. He was a late call-up. And then Rupert Moon's going to do some. Scotty Quinnell, if he can get out on his bike. Alex Poppin's going to do a bit. And then, we've got about 8 who did Ireland. And then we've got some newbies joining this year. And then we've got a few guys who did John Goats Land's End. So in total, including the 2 girls in the van, we've got 24 as a group.
So when Stuart Thom WhatsApps people, it must send a shudder down their spine.
Well, you say that, right? The last podcast I had with you was with Budge Poutney, and Budge, as you know, said, "I'll never get on the bike." So the crazy one we're doing next year, the try to the final. So I was texting Budge about various things, and he said, "Right, we need to do a warm up for that." So I'm doing something silly in March next year. He said, "That sounds great." And so I had to remind him. I said, "Budge, you're the guy that hates the bike." And then John Davidson has come up with something really weird, like a wheelchair sort of thing. And Budge, yeah, that sounds good as well. So the people who have watched that before and got involved, and they get off the end of the cycle or the end of the challenge, never again. They seem to keep on coming back for more. I don't know. As I say, I don't know what it is. I do. It's 2 things. It's the cause and it's Doddie. And again, I phone people up, the rugby clubs and golf clubs. Yeah, what is it? It's M&D, it's Doddie Weir. Yeah, what can we do to help? So it's an easy win, really. And again, people love to get involved because we have the same mantra that Doddie has. Enjoy it, have fun. So it's not all a bit lycra. There's a few beers and a few glasses of wine at the end of each day. So it's not all seriously about protein bars and carbos and stuff. It's let's have some fun when we're doing it. Let's not get too serious.
I love that. It's not all about the lycra.
Well, some people love it. You know, Mark Moncrief is one. Apparently, loves his life. Loves his
Yeah,
life.
I can imagine that. I can absolutely imagine him getting excited about that. I think there's a third thing though. There's the cause and there's Doddie, but there's the getting the band back together, isn't there? We all miss the changing room. We all miss that team environment, and that's what you're creating on these things. And you're sharing an experience with people and building relationships that means the next time you ask them, they're pretty much up for it because they're having a good time.
Yeah, well, again, that was it. You know, we did the Ireland one, and Nigel Carr, who you know, again, a rugby legend over here and with the Lions, said that he said the camaraderie that we had from day one to day 10, whatever it was, with Ireland, and it was like being on a rugby tour, except being on the bike. You know, you have the banter, and there was days when it was tough, and you all help each other out, and it's exactly what's replicated in any sport, Bruce. You know, you have good days and bad days, but you've got someone sitting next to you on the bike, or someone pushing behind you on the bike, and that's what it's about. You know, helping each other and having a bit of a laugh, and doing it with a smile on your face if you can.
One of the side effects must be it's good for the mental health. Everything that you're doing, helping other people, being with other people, being outside, exercising, it's like the perfect medicine, isn't it?
It is, and again, you know, don't get me wrong. There's people who go to the gym just to go to the gym, but there's a lot of us who do it because we've got a goal. So, right, what we're doing next year, right? I'm going to train for that, or I'm going to. So you've got a focus to look for, and that's the thing. And then also it gets us out and about because we've kept. I would now class some of these guys as friends, and you said it. You can pick up the phone to them and have a chat, as opposed to before it would be, oh my god, it's Carl Heyman, it's the British, so the All Black legend that he is. Now you get phone calls from Carl at silly clock in the morning and various things. So you can now open up doors and have the chats. And yeah, you're not scared of asking these people to do something again, because we always think of weird and wonderful ideas, and probably the more the more stupid, or the crazier the better, because that makes it a bit more fun.
And you've had these crazy ideas for a while. What was the trigger? What made you do the first one?
Well, we did a golf day here in 2018, and then we said, well, we'll do the same thing over in Edinburgh the following year. And I can't remember what it was. I was probably talking to Brushy Redpath, and he said, well, why don't we do a bit of a cycle? And then that was it. It was Johnny Groats to Land's End before you knew it. And it's like, right, okay, it's a bit random, but let's do it. And then that was the great rugby cycle was formed. So, yeah, my brain doesn't really stop. I've got 3 events planned for 2023, and 2024 is ready in the pipeline, which could be quite exciting if we get that one off. You know, New Zealand's apparently very nice in the summer, their summer, not our summer. So that's the plan. That's the plan.
Right, hang on. Now my mind's racing. You cycling to New Zealand, or are you
No,
taking
no,
the
no,
bike
no,
to New Zealand?
no. Apparently the top of the North Island to the bottom of the south, I don't know, 1,000 miles. Someone said, I said, okay, we'll do it in 8 days, whatever it is. And we've already been in touch with some of the Carol's mates, and I lived over there for a few years. So Ruben Thorne, ex All Black as well. So yeah, can't do anything this side of the world, but certainly if you want to do something down here, let me know. So I'm a big fan of New Zealand in general, just as a country, the rugby heritage, and just the people. So I thought, right, again, spread the word. You know, how far can we spread it? Well, okay, New Zealand's pretty far away from us, so why not? So that's the plan. That's the plan. Is because we're not really doing a big cycle next year, because that try to the final. So that could be the 2024. So that's it. Watch the space. But you could get on the bike, Bruce. Apparently, it's all downhill.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah,
we need a compare. I don't know. We can find you
yeah.
something.
Right, I'll do that. If I get to go to New Zealand, I'll start cycling. I'm there. I'm a big fan of the country as well. I'm the only person outside of Hamilton in New Zealand that loves Hamilton in New Zealand. Whenever I say people that Hamilton's my town in New Zealand, they go, "What? Why Hamilton?" So
I've got a randomer town, Rangiora, in North Canterbury, just outside Christchurch. That's where I stayed and played, and that is random. However, there's a few All Blacks in that part of the world. The Blackadder's, they're from there. So yeah. So again, I mentioned Rangiora, and they go, where the hell is that? Okay, there you go. This is another random fact.
It's an amazing place, New Zealand, though. It's like you're going to find in Wales. Every village has got rugby posts, and I remember Mooney telling me there's a village in Wales, and during one of the Lions tours, some Welsh wag came up with there's more lions in this village than there is in the whole of Scotland.
Very accurate, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but you're right. You go through New Zealand and you just find this random rugby pitch, and then a pub, and then a few houses, and that is it. That's the focus. And then suddenly match day, the whole place fills up. Where have they come from? So I love the country. So yeah, I would love to get a cycle down there in 2024. So
and it's likely every one of those clubhouses has heard of Doddie Weir.
Absolutely. Well, he scored 2 tries against them in the '95 World Cup.
Yeah, he's never mentioned that. He's never mentioned that.
He's still talking about it. And I going off on a tangent, but I remember I lived there, and it was the '95 World Cup. I was in New Zealand, and obviously the quarterfinal, and we lost. That's when Jonah was at the top of his game, and it never fails to amaze me just how much they talk about rugby. But I remember coming into my work, and this old granny coming up and telling me the details of why we hadn't won and why we hadn't beaten All Blacks, and literally finite details of the attack, defence, and everything. That's a totally different. Some old granny telling me about rugby, and that's just the whole country was just engrossed in rugby, and still is. Great place.
By the time you get there, they might be back higher than 5th in the world too. But that we can't really throw mud from Scotland on that one. Ireland must be buzzing.
Yeah, no. Again, we were talking to some of the players because there's a connection here with some of the Ulster players. I was speaking to Rob Herring, and he said after the second test, they thought, right, we need to finish this off. And he said it wasn't, well, Scotland have never beaten the All Blacks, but they were sitting in the change rooms after that second test, and they said the job isn't done. And I think that's probably part of Farrell. Right, we've achieved what we haven't achieved before, beating the All Blacks in New Zealand, but we haven't beaten them in a test series, so job done. And then when they did, yes, there was euphoria. And again, the provinces over here are strong. So Irish rugby is strong from top to bottom at the moment, which is a worrying point of view considering we're in their group for the next World Cup.
Yeah, and South Africa.
I know. So yeah, I can't see us getting out of that group. But there you go. You never know.
We're going to beat the All Blacks in November. That's a sideline. Just news flash. So we're getting to the point of the cycle. We've got the Just Giving page set up. The target you set's 50,000. Yeah. You've got everybody contributing to that. By the time you get round to clubs, I'm pretty sure you're going to smash it. Have you got events planned at any of the clubs?
No. Again, the timing's not great for. I thought we're going to get Cloneth or Scarlets against Ospreys on that Friday night, but they're playing the Saturday, and then Ulster are playing the Scarlets the following Saturday. So we're missing some of these games, but no events. Just we'll probably have a small dinner on the Friday night when we finish up. So, but we've got an online auction going at the same time. Again, it's always hard to try and get people to dip in their pockets every time you do an event. So we've got an auction going at the same time. You've got the link there. So there's some good prizes, good items on there, ranging from a night on the town with Ian Rankin and Scott Hastings, and then right up to golf and stay and play packages and various things. So yeah, there's a bit there for everybody. So that's the plan, is to try and say, right, as much as we're doing the cycle, we're also doing an auction at the same time.
I reckon the night in the town with Ian Rankin would be worth twice as much if you got rid of Scott Hastings.
Well, I did speak to Ian Rankin in EFO, and he said that's a good idea. I said, "Are you going to put a limit on the barbell?" He said, "No." I said, "Oh, geez, this could be difficult. We better be careful who bids." So, if you want to bid, Bruce, you might get your £500 worth of beer in the Ox Bar before you even leave. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I have bid on it, but I've been outbid. That's the item I'm after is an evening with Ian Rankin. I reckon that would be pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I think it'll be good fun.
And if anybody's willing to get involved or wants to help, or they can get in touch with you, is there any details you're still needing? Is there any beds needing filled?
No, we're full. But what we've done in previous ones is people want to join for a few miles each day, more than welcome. Because the way we do it, we split into three groups. It's not a slow, medium, fast. It's just three groups, and you join each group. So we've got 3 stops planned each day. So if someone wants to join, email me at my work here, and then I can let them know where we're stopping and where we're going to be at certain points of the day. And so I think it works out about 85, 90 miles a day. So we stop to try and keep the legs going. We stop about 2-3 times a day. Simple.
Do you get nervous before it? Is there an anxiousness before it, or is it just excitement?
To be honest, it's more like as soon as we stopped Ireland last year, I had all this planned or in my head. So the planning's done. So it's really just, get up and go. So no, I enjoy it. I'll probably enjoy this one more than last year, because last year with the COVID, it was on, off, changed, not changed. What's the protocol? So this one, hopefully there shouldn't be any changes or any things with COVID. So yeah, this will be a bit more enjoyable.
Nice one.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you get up to. Social media will be rife and there'll be all sorts of nonsense going on. Look after Mooney for me. I know he's supposed to be looking after you, but I do worry about him.
Oh, he's you know him from one of the quiz nights we did, and you've kept in touch with him. But he's one of those guys you can pick up the phone to any time of the day, and he will take your call. And I think that's the making of the man. There's not many people who would give you that time. And again, there's other people like randomly. Kev Sinfield's been donating stuff for the auction as well. So it's what we've said. The wider rugby community comes together for the cause, and it's all we can do is keep fighting for the cure that we striving for.
You're some man, Stu. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. I'm going to join you one of these days. I promise.
Well, you've done a lot. You've done the quiz for me, and then you've done a few of the quiz nights when we did the first John Groats Land's End. So yeah. You see,
Yeah.
it's not a long flight to Belfast. You know that, Bruce. It's not the other side of the world. You can come and see us anytime you want.
Right, careful, because that will happen. Do you know, when I saw Ollie Phillips got the China job, I thought, I wonder if Stu's got something planned for China.
Well, I did ask him, could we run the Great Wall of China? And I don't know when he heads out. I think he heads out there quite soon, but that's a big challenge for him, and he'll do well. Ollie's one of those guys who sees life through a different lens to me, but everything's rosy, and he's very, very optimistic. So he'll smash it. He will.
He's class.
We will see China back in the world stage before we know it.
Yeah,
Ollie will do a great job.
If he doesn't get it done, nobody's getting it done.
Exactly.
Okay, my man. Thank you. You better get back to work. Love you. See you sometime, I hope, and all the very best for it.
No, thanks again, Bruce. We'll be in touch. See you soon.
Cheers. You gotta love him. He is relentless in his support and his pursuit for pennies and a cure and raising awareness. And he's got quite a band of brothers to support him. If you like, you can get involved. There's the Just Giving page, there's the auction, and then there's that invitation to email him and get involved if you want to join for some or all or a whole day, whatever it is. Get involved. I'm sure you will have a whale of a time while doing good things. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, you can listen on Apple, Acast, and Spotify. You can watch on Facebook and YouTube. My name is Bruce Aitchison. My happiness is egg-shaped, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon.